That was the first touchdown of the 2024 season. Gotta love it. My next guest, a 5-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowl linebacker, the Panthers radio analyst, watching that go on. When that happened, Luke Kuechly, what were you thinking?
That was painful. I got to watch it again already. I thought I was going to get a few days without it, but it was a difficult game all around for the Panthers. That was the opening drive of our season. We won the toss. We deferred. They went right down the field. I was watching the pocket on that play, and we had really good push. He throws the ball up, and then all I see is J.C. Horn trailing behind. It looked like a cover 3. I think we might have blown a coverage. It was a difficult way to start the season. I felt like they came in, and on the offensive side of the ball, they were kind of able to do whatever they wanted. Clint Kubiak came in, had a great game plan. They were stretching us wide and wide zone. When they'd stretch us wide, they run downhill power, 2-back stuff right at us. They'd sprinkled in play action. That was really efficient. Foster Moreau had a big game catching play action routes to the sidelines. They jumped all over us, and I think Derek Carr looked way more comfortable this year. Last year was heavy drop back with the Pete Carmichael scheme. A lot of drop back pass versus this year with the Clint Kubiak. Everybody's seen it with the McVays and the Mike McDaniels and the Kyle Shanahans. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run it. And once you start to have those linebackers suck up to stop the run game, they're going to pull it and run boot pass, and guys are just wide open. So it was a tough way to start the season for us, but in one game, we're not going to overreact. That's what everybody's going to do on a Monday, is say, hey, the sky is falling, but I'm the eternal optimist. I like our team. I like Dave Canales. I like his positive energy.
Me too.
Hey, got to put our head down and grind a week 2.
We don't want to overreact. Are we underreacting? I'm looking at, you're saying he's more comfortable. Derek Carr, literally, when I was with him, I could tell he's more settled. He's ready to go. Kubiak's injecting this attack that they were sort of trying to keep a secret. Allen did his thing last night, defensively, of course. Are we underreacting to the Saints, potentially? Because here's what's happening. I like the Saints. I think it's ridiculous that this team does not the fans sometimes don't support their quarterback. I'm like, great job, Derek. And all I heard was, it's the Panthers. It's the Panthers. It's the Panthers. So what would you say to that? Are we underreacting maybe to how good the Saints and formidable they might be in this division?
I think they're better than everyone thinks. So I would say yes to your question. On the offensive side of the ball, they kind of did whatever they wanted. They threw it well. They were timely taking shots. They ran the ball extremely well. They played great defense. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Pete Warner, Marshawn Lattimore, Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu is still
so good.
Tyrann Mathieu, he's 32 years old, forced a fumble, recovered his own fumble.
So awesome.
Active. I think that they have an offensive coordinator now that's going to get along really well with Derek Carr. Just how they run it, that Shanahan-McVay style offense is so difficult to compete with. And I think the one piece on that offense that really sets them apart is Taysom Hill. You look at the success that the Niners have had, the one guy that always gets talked about is Kyle Juszczyk. He can line up as a fullback. He can line up as a running back. He can line up as a tight end. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can block. He can get on the perimeter and block. They have that with Taysom Hill now, and they can run Wildcat with him. So when he's in the game, he's listed as a tight end. So is it 12 personnel? Is it 13? He lines up in the backfield. It looks like 21. So on the offense side of the ball, you've just got problems with scheme, right? And then on the defensive side of the ball, they're older, they're veteran. Dennis Allen has been a really good coordinator for a long time. And then they blocked a punt yesterday, and they returned one to like the 30-yard line on our side of the field. So they did everything really well. And you can say what you want about maybe we didn't play as well as we could have on the Panthers side, but they still scored, they scored a bunch of points. They played really well on defense. They forced 2 receptions. They recovered a fumble, and we went out on downs twice. So I think we didn't play very well, but also I think the Saints are a really good football team.
I love that. I mean, the Bucs looked really good too, but I look at the Saints and they didn't even have. I mean, Chris Olave was blanked. He was 2 catches for 11 yards. So when he gets going and they figure that out, they might. I think we might be playing this clip back and saying this is a team that we should have given more love to in the offseason and more faith into the quarterback and the coaching system. Let's talk about the Lions. This is the last night game. You heard what I had to say. They pull off the win. Matthew Stafford, he had some brilliant moments. You have faced him a time or two in your career. What did you think of Stafford on Sunday Night Football?
Well, I think everyone's looking like, hey, does Stafford still have it? He's 36 years old, but he does everything well. And when they have one of their best receivers go down, he finds a way to make it work. Obviously Cooper Kupp had, I think he had 14 catches yesterday. Puka goes out. But when you watch Stafford, he threw really well against pressure. He knew where his hots were. He still has the big arm. He still has a security blanket in Cooper Kupp. And then the one thing that he does really well is I don't know how you play defense against him in zone coverage and get a jump on any ball, right? His ability to throw the ball looking in the wrong direction. He's going to look front side, he's going to throw it backside, and it's going to be pinned on a guy's chest. That as a linebacker that played in a lot of cover three with Sean McDermott and Steve Wilkes and Eric Washington, you get set up, your timing dictates when you break. Your timing also dictates where routes are. So as the down progresses, based on concepts and formations where receivers are supposed to be, and that's where you break. So as Stafford's looking to his right, your clock's ticking, you're pushing front side, where the route concept's going to be, and then he slings it across the middle of the field to a guy that, I don't know how he sees those guys. I don't know how he finds them, but I'll tell you what, when you sit in zone coverage or you're a single hole player in man coverage, there's a difficult opportunity to jump the ball when he throws it.
Yeah, it's got to suck for linebackers when he does those no looks, huh? That's not fun for anybody out there. The biggest underdog of week one. Let's get right to this. This is like what gives all teams all across the league faith. It's the Patriots, right? Gerard Mayo, they trade Judon, who are the receivers. They knock off the Bengals, a Super Bowl contender, 16-10 to kick off the season. When we have Joe Burrow to start, right? Where I'm expecting him to come out swinging. This is my MVP pick, Kuechly. 164 yards passing, no touchdowns. How worried are you?
I think you look at what the Bengals have been the past couple of years. They've struggled to start the last couple of years. They've been 0-2, 1-3. That's it. You know what? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
T. Higgins doesn't play. Jamar Chase misses a majority of training camp. They didn't score in the first half of the game. They had a couple turnovers. They let the Patriots run the ball out at the end of the game. They punted. The Patriots get the ball on the plus side of the 2-minute warning. And then that last first down by Ramondre Stevenson, he just willed himself to a first down and they took a knee. But I think, I grew up in Cincinnati. I know what the fans are like in Cincinnati. The one positive in Cincinnati is the confidence that Joe Burrow has. He has confidence in himself. He has confidence in Zach Taylor. He has confidence in his guys on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, they start slow. You'd love for them to kind of figure that out, but as long as you got him back there, you have a chance to win. T comes back. Jamar gets a little bit more, in football shape. You can say what you want until you go out there and you run and you cut and you have a guys leaning on you. It's a different game once the ball gets snapped versus just being in off-season shape. So I love the Bengals. Like I said, I'm from there. As long as you have Joe Burrow, the confidence that he has and what he can do in his team and that organization, it's a disappointing start at home, but I think they're going to be okay.
They also didn't run the ball. That was my big gripe yesterday watching this. I watched it very closely. I'd like them to win this, get to the Super Bowl once more and win it. And I'm looking at the numbers. They were just under 80% pass on their first 5 drives. That's wild. It wasn't until drives handing it off to Zach Moss. What did they do? They go down and score. So, this offense is always best when it's balanced. But I'm going to hang my hat on the, Chase had food poisoning. There's that. Okay, great. And then there's the fact that back in 2022, they started 0-2 to start the season and still, made it to the AFC Championship game. So they started 0-2 last year and made it back to 5-3 before Burrow got hurt. So I'm not that worried. But on the other side, I think we're definitely underreacting to the defense of the Patriots, and it must feel good to get a fellow linebacker, Gerard Mayo, who's not celebrating a victory Monday, by the way. They were back at work today, but he got the Gatorade shower. You must have loved seeing this.
Absolutely. Just the excitement that the guys have for him. He's been there for a long time. He came up under Belichick, was a great player at Tennessee, and then a really good player in New England. And when guys like that get promoted, I think there's a real feeling inside of the organization that, hey, we believe in what we have in the building. And I think that goes to coaches. It also goes to players. I think it speaks to what Belichick has been able to do to develop Gerard Mayo into what he is now. But I think you watch that game and how they played it. It's vintage, old school Patriots, early 2000s. We're going to play really good defense. They forced a couple turnovers. They had 3 sacks. We're going to play really well on special teams. And then we're just going to pound the football. Ramondre Stevenson played really well. He had over 100 yards. He scored a touchdown. And then I'm going to go back to that run he had at the end of the game. He broke through, I think it was like a 2nd and 7. He broke through and he got hit at probably 4 yards, and he just willed himself past the first down to win the game. And when you're standing on the sideline and you're a defensive player and you're like, hey, we need one first down to win the game, and you see your running back go through there, put his shoulder down, dig out a couple extra dirty yards, it just makes you feel good. And just like the Lions are a product of Dan Campbell, that shows you, hey, they believe and they buy into what Gerard Mayo wants to be on all sides of the football.
What does Lou have to do, and what do they have to do to stop the run? They could not stop Ramondre, and it's a worry I have that sort of continues from last year. Now they're down Reader.
I think the run game is an interesting thing in the NFL right now. I think running the ball, you have to be able to run it when you need to, and you got to be able to stop the run when you need to. So running the ball in the middle of the game isn't as big of a deal with me. They didn't score a ton of points. What was it, 17-10? That doesn't scare me, but you have to be able to stop the run when everybody knows they're going to run it, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the game right there, you're going to put 8 guys in the box. They're going to run power football. They're going to pull guys. They're going to run gap schemes. You got to be sound in what you're doing. You got to blitz accordingly, and you have to do your job. In situations like that, everybody's like, hey, I need to be the guy that's going to make the play. I got to be the guy that's going to make the TFL. No, you got to do your job. And I'm not worried about that Bengals defense. They lose a fantastic coach, but it comes down to want to. It's going to be cover 3. It's going to be fire zone. It's going to be 8-man box. Everybody knows what they're doing, but at the end of the day, it's who does it better. So running the ball in the middle of the game isn't a big deal to me. It's more of when teams need to stop the run, you have to be able to do it, and they weren't able to do that yesterday.
Am I crazy to think the Patriots are a playoff team? Based off what we saw from Miami to start, Buffalo, obviously the Jets go tonight. I think this could be just you're talking about the way that they play. Why not?
It's a tough division. Tough division. They've got 3 quarterbacks that are making a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I think if you look right now, I think they're probably number 4 in that. Until you beat Buffalo, until you beat Miami, and then Aaron Rodgers back healthy with the guys that he has on the offensive side of the ball and that defense. Yeah, I think skill-wise they got a chance. I think they play really hard, but that division is a bear right now. The AFC in general is just so difficult.
Let's just get into it. We'll go to some of these other games. But Aaron Rodgers takes the field tonight against those Niners. I don't even want to dig into it super much in my own head because I want to enjoy it and not have any expectations. But, you're 2-2 all-time against him. I spoke to Fred Warner at training camp. He called you one of his idols, by the way. If you're Fred Warner tonight, what are you studying all week? What are you paying attention to, and what are you executing tonight?
Well, I think the number one thing right from the jump that Aaron Rodgers has that's super unique is patience in the play clock. He's going to let that thing run all the way down to 0. He's going to get the look that he wants. He's going to snap it when he wants. And his hard count's unbelievable. So if you're mugged up there, if you're playing defensive line, or you're a backer in the A-gap on a pressure, you have to make sure that you're seeing the play clock. You understand where he is in the play clock, when that hard count's coming, because he's the king, as everybody knows, of free plays. If he gets a free play, you better believe that ball is going deep. So I think, number one, understanding the play clock with him in his hard count. Number 2, you can't make it too easy for him. The first time that we played Green Bay, we played him in Lambeau. First drive of the game, we're getting ready to get off the field. It's third and 15, and I'm in the A gap. I'm not even in the pressure. I step across the line of scrimmage and drop.
Okay.
So he hard counts. I jump off sides. They get the ball on, it's 3rd and 7 now, or 10 or whatever it was. Convert a first down. 2 plays later, Jordy Nelson touchdown. That same game, we're going pressure, and it's a fire zone. We're dropping a defensive end. We're bringing frontside pressure. And remember, he comes up to the line of scrimmage, and it's dead quiet at Lambeau. When he's on the field, it's quiet. He gets up there. He looks. He says, hey, pressure's coming from here. This guy's dropping. Hey, fan to this pressure. He knows the defensive end's dropping to number 2 in the slot, and he pins a ball right on Randall Cobb's chest for 10 yards. So early in the game, my first time with Aaron Rodgers was hard count's dangerous. Number 2, if you show him too early in the play clock, he's either going to check out of it or he's going to slide protection and get exactly what he wants. So Fred Warner and that defense are really good. So if I'm Fred, I'm being really alert of what the play clock looks like in hard count. Number 2, when you associate all that stuff together, you have to make sure that if you're playing cover 4, you just can't line up in cover 4. Because the moment he knows what's going on, you're in trouble. So those are my 2 things for him right away is play clock, hard count, and number 3, don't show him too early.
He has the lowest interception rate, like, of all time. Like, he just doesn't, it doesn't happen. When it happens, it's like, whenever it happens, I'm like, oh my God, like, what? How did this?
You have to fool him.
How did this weird, what?
You have to fool him. If you don't fool him, you're not going to.
How do you fool him?
Throw a ton of them.
It's not like he's not aggressive, right? Like, he goes for it, and somehow it still works. So I guess the question is, why is he nearly impossible to pick off?
I think he's very intelligent. I think he's super intelligent. I think his feet and his arm get him out of a lot of trouble. When you watch him throw the football, there's not a lot of guys that I used to love watching him in pregame warmups throw pat and go and just flick it. He and Michael Vick had the ability to just flick the ball, and it goes 50 yards. And nothing's changed with his ability to throw the ball. So I think he can take riskier throws. He can take more risk just with his athletic ability. So you compare that with, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants. He largely has a really good feel for what the defense is doing. And then his just natural ability to get the ball where he wants to in a small window is unique.
I mean, you're saying it's because of his athleticism. Will he have the legs? I guess that's the question, right?
Yeah, like, we'll see. I mean, coming off that Achilles, you never know. Yeah,
can't wait. Okay, Cowboys. They do this thing where they pay Dak. They, try to sweep it under the pre-kickoff rug so nobody discusses it. Do you have any thoughts on it? Do we feel like Micah is the odd man out now? We've got, obviously Jerry's trying to make it work here. It's 4 years, $240 million for Dak. Is Micah Parsons the guy left out in the cold? CD's got his money. Dak now. What do you think?
I think he's the next guy in line just chronologically, right? So you bring CD, and then obviously you got to take care of your quarterback, and then Micah's next. He's a problem. He can line up everywhere. He can rush the passer. He can chase and go get it. He's big. He's powerful. He's unique, and that's the best way to describe him. If you're Mike Zimmer, you've got a dude that you can do stuff with. And if I'm a coordinator on both sides of the ball, like go back to Clint Kubiak, he's got Taysom Hill that he can line up wherever he wants, and he creates problems. Now Zim in Dallas, he's got the same thing with Micah Parsons. So yeah, I think his time's going to come.
I don't know. If they can't pay all. If they pay all three, how do you fill out a roster? I don't know. They're going to take some of your middle schoolers and start paying them in candy from 7-Eleven. Like, how do you pay anybody?
We'll take Micah Parsons on the middle school team. We might have to reclassify him, but we'll take him.
Micah had a great game yesterday. He had a sack, he had 5 quarterback hits, and he was tweeting last night, I need to do better, which I love.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I love seeing that. What did you make of Deshaun Watson? Rough week 1.
Yeah,
getting skewered. 2 picks, 50% of his passes completed. He got sacked 6 times. This offense looked good with Flacco last year. What is the issue at quarterback for the Browns?
I think that's what everybody's asking themselves right now. I think, you look at the game, I think you play the Cowboys, I think there's an inherent pressure that gets put on the opposing team. They're going to score. They're going to put up a bunch of points. Dak's really good. And then coming into the season, I think there's just been so much pressure for Deshaun to live up to that contract that he signed. That guaranteed contract, they traded all those picks to go get him. And it just hasn't quite worked out. And for what reason? I'm not really sure. He's got guys around him. He's got Njoku. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got, he's got Chubb when he's healthy. They've got guys. They're good up front. Stefanski's a good coach, and it just, for whatever reason, it hasn't quite clicked yet for him.
You don't know? You don't have any Kuechly insights to that? Like watching? Really?
No, not on that one. I'm still trying to figure that one out. It's a little bit of a conundrum for me.
That is really a scary thing if you're a Browns fan watching that Kuechly can't sort it out. But it's we'll see what happens in week 2. I wanted to ask you about the Vikings because they looked good. The Giants did not. Sam Darnold at MetLife. Obviously, JJ's gone. He's the starter. 19 for 25 passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But you know this guy. You saw him up close when he was in Carolina. What did you make of Darnold's Kevin O'Connell offensive performance yesterday?
Well, I don't think it's a surprise with Sam, right? He was drafted high for a reason. He's a great dude. He's super smart. He's super athletic. He's competitive. And then last year, he had an opportunity for the first time in his career to just sit back and watch, right? He got to go to a good organization in San Francisco, got to watch Purdy, and then he got to sit in that Shanahan offense, right? He got to see what works, see what doesn't work, and then boom, now he goes to Kevin O'Connell, who basically runs the same offense. They're good up front with Minnesota. They can run the ball really well. And then they have the two receivers, Justin Jefferson and Addison. He's been in that system now for going on a second year. McCarthy got hurt, so now there's nobody looking over his shoulder thinking, "Hey, if I'm Sam and I have a couple bad drives, am I going to get pulled for the first round pick?" He doesn't have to worry about any of that. And then with Sam, you look at it yesterday, you look at the numbers, you're like, all right, what do these mean? 8 receivers touched the ball, so he wasn't forcing the ball to the 2 receivers. He just spread it out. And in that offense, it's all about throw the ball who's open. We're going to scheme it up. We're going to give guys opportunity to get open. We're going to draw plays up for guys. And when they're open, just put it on them. So I think he's in a great offensive system. I think he's super talented. I think it was really good for him last year to sit in that offense behind Purdy and just watch. And then you pair that with McCarthy being hurt. He's the guy this year for Minnesota, and I think that's a great feeling for him.
I love it. Nice to have Justin Jefferson there, too. He looked awesome. Was so excited to score a touchdown with his teammates. I wish them well. I think it's a lot of pressure having just the best wide receiver in the National Football League on your team, getting him the ball. I wanted to ask you, you're not surprised about Sam Darnold. I think a lot of people were about his performance or low expectations. What did surprise you in week 1? What were you impressed by? Maybe something in a game or something that we haven't hit yet. Was there something that you saw, even in your own game, something that impressed you or surprised you?
I'm a big Baker fan. I love Baker Mayfield. I think he had, obviously had a great season last year. And then this offseason, Tampa went and paid him, right? So they said, hey, we're going to give you a 3-year deal. We're going to pay you a bunch of money. You're our guy. And I think once that happened, he felt embraced by Tampa, right? And I think that team really rallies around him. His toughness, his edge, his attitude, his competitiveness. I think it helps that he was with Liam Cohen in 2022 back with the Rams. So they have some familiarity a little bit from that. But then when you watch that game and you watch how he believes in the guys on his team, he threw a ball to Mike Evans, a fade in the low red zone, and he wasn't open at all. But Baker's attitude to me is, I believe in Mike Evans.
Yes.
I believe in my guys. I'm going to give you a chance to go get it. Now go get it. So if you're Mike Evans, he gives you so much ownership in your ability to go play that you want to play for a guy like that. So I'm a big Baker fan. They put up 37 points week 1. They've got 2 dudes that can really stretch it and go get the ball in Godwin and Mike Evans. They're a fun team to watch.
And he's settled and he's paid. And every time something good happened, his smile just got me going. I was like,
he's just a football guy.
Yeah, he was super happy. Confidence is something that works really well for him. So he's going to use that. And they look just as good as the division champs that we saw last year. It's going to be hard to take them out, even as good as the Saints might have looked, and the Panthers coming along, Falcons, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we're going to do a little Luke and Rally. Okay, these are quick topics. I have 3 of them for you. Luke Kuechly, Luke and Rally. Who's the losing team you're most concerned about after week 1?
Hey, we're going to go back. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bengals. I'm not super concerned, but I think there was a lot of hope and expectations for them this year in the struggle on offense in week 1 at home against a team that everybody thought they were going to beat, and they didn't start scoring until the second quarter or the second half. I think that I just was looking for a little bit more, but that's what they do. They start slow, and like I talked about previously, the confidence of Joe Burrow doesn't scare me, but I was hoping for a little bit more to start week 1.
Who's the rookie that you sort of fell for, that you said, okay, I like this week 1 performance?
First game of the season, Xavier Worthy. That dude can run and he's fast. He caught that reverse, and you watch it, you're like, there's nowhere for him to go, and he put his right foot in the ground and turned upfield, and it reminds you of the speed of Tyreek Hill, and they really didn't have him going deep vertical that game, but he is fast. They know how to use him, and Mahomes has the arm to just sling it out there and let him go run underneath it.
I mean, imagine what you could do with him at Charlotte Christian Middle School, writing on napkins at the next wedding you're at. What you could do with somebody who looks like Worthy out there.
We would figure it out. We'd figure it out.
Sure. Which team are you positive will bounce back in week 2?
Baltimore Ravens. Okay. I'm a big Lamar fan. They've got guys on offense. I think that those 2 tight ends are going to be a problem this year. Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, 2 really good players. Zay Flowers is really good. They can run the ball with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. They had the opportunity to go win that game 2 times at the end of the game. They just missed some throws. But hey, that team is coached by a really good guy in Harbaugh. they're really good on defense. I'm a big Roquan Smith fan. There's a bad taste in their mouth. They're going to be home this week. I look for them to get back on track.
Love that. Now tell me what happens tonight, who wins rather, and one specific thing. Call your shot and a prediction for the big Jets-Niners finale to week 1.
Yeah, it is stacked with guys. Debo, Christian, Ayuk, Trent Williams got his deal. Obviously, Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers. I'm a Niners fan because my man Christian's on the team.
Of course.
I want Christian to play and have a big game. I don't want the Niners to win. So, but the NFL is better with Aaron Rodgers back around. Him and Garrett Wilson are really good together. But I'm gonna go Niners at home. Christian, big game, and get them going in the right direction.
And Aaron's better when you're not on the field.
When I'm not jumping off sides, he's not as good.
Love that. Luke, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for the time. Great job with the Panthers. I like the positivity about everything, especially the coach. They'll get it together, Panthers fans, and we'll be cheering them on, as we will be Christian McCaffrey. And just the game tonight will be amazing. So, Kuechly, let's do this again next Monday.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, sir. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. You can subscribe right here to get the latest from the show and check out more of the best clips from Up and Adams, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FanDuel.